Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in less than 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We're talking changes to the tax plan and a shooting in California, plus the first digital pill, cards of humanity, and a historic Barbie. All that and much more in less than 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. Today is Wednesday, November 15th. You ready? Let's do this. Well, there was a lot of talk about memory. Attorney General Jeff Sessions testified on Capitol Hill for 5.5 hours yesterday, and one of the key issues was his statements that haven't always matched up. For example, USA Today reports last month, Sessions said he had no knowledge of any contact between the Trump campaign and Russia officials. But then documents kind of told a different story. And yesterday he said, "Oh yeah, I remember one meeting last year with George Papadopoulos." Remember that name? Papadopoulos used to be a Trump campaign advisor, and he apparently offered up a meeting between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Still, Sessions says he never lied and has never intentionally misled anyone. One more thing. Lawmakers also asked Sessions about whether he would hire a special counsel to investigate the Clinton Foundation. Sessions said, maybe. President Trump and some Republicans want that investigation, saying there was a conflict of interest on a business deal back in the day when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. Critics say it's all political and the Justice Department shouldn't get so political. So that decision is still up in the air. Congress is still working on a possible tax overhaul, and there are still two versions. One got some big changes this week. On the Senate side, Republicans decided to put a repeal of the healthcare mandate in the same tax bill. So in other words, if the Senate version passes, it would mean changes to taxes, and you would no longer be required to have health insurance. Supporters say it would help save money. Critics say it would raise rates for people who buy their own insurance. The other change was to have some of the individual tax cuts expire in 2025. But remember, this is not law yet, and the other version on the House side could go to a vote this week. Both sides will eventually have to agree if one of those versions will become law. So stay tuned. Looks like it's time for Congress to get some training. The AP reports top lawmakers say they hope to pass a new policy to require all members of Congress and their staffs to get training to prevent sexual harassment. Right now, the policy is that it's voluntary. It comes as a couple female lawmakers just shared stories and concerns this week about sexual harassment. One said at least 2 men in Congress right now, one Democrat, one Republican, have sexually harassed women. She didn't name names, though. CNN reporters say they spoke with more than 50 people who either work or have worked in Congress who also say they've experienced sexual harassment there. So enter the possibility of a new training policy. A shooting in a small town in Northern California left at least 4 people dead and 10 hurt, and the gunman even fired at an elementary school. It happened yesterday morning in a community called Rancho Tehama Reserve. It's about 120 miles northwest of Sacramento. The LA Times reports it started with the gunman shooting his neighbors, then he took a stolen car and shot people at random around town, including at a car and at a school. The school was already on lockdown, though, so he couldn't get all the way in, but he still shot through the windows. When it was all said and done, at least 2 kids were hurt. Police eventually shot and killed the gunman. So far, officials have not talked about a clear motive. Australia just gave a thumbs up to same-sex marriage. The Guardian reports more than 60% of voters said in a national survey that they're just fine with legalizing gay marriage there. And now that means lawmakers will consider a bill to make it legal. The Prime Minister even said same-sex marriage should be legal in Australia by Christmas. All right, other things people may be talking about today. The first ever digital pill just got the green light from the FDA. Fast Company reports there's a tracking sensor in the pill, and it can tell your doctor if and when you actually took your meds. The New York Times reports it can cost $100 billion a year when patients don't take their medications because, well, they just get sick again. The first approved digital pill is in the form of a drug used for mental health disorders like schizophrenia and depression. So how does it work? The sensor in the pill apparently sends the info to a mobile app where doctors, family members, and the patient can review it. Would you use Bank of Amazon? How about Facebook Financial? It could happen. Right now, Bloomberg reports the rules don't allow companies like that to also offer banking services, but a Maine regulator is saying it could be time to change, that maybe commercial companies can do better at banking, And yes, that makes banks very nervous. You know Cards Against Humanity? It's a card game that is purposely shocking and even sometimes offensive. Well, the company is going all out and getting really political for its holiday promotion. Cards Against Humanity says it actually bought some land on the U.S.-Mexico border to make it tough for President Trump to build his wall there. And it wants people to join in on that fight. Mashable says $15 will buy you some surprises next month, like a map of the land they got and even a small slice of the land. And, oh yeah, some new cards. But wait, they already sold out in the first day. TBD if they add more. There's a new Barbie, and it's the first ever hijab-wearing Barbie. It was revealed at the Glamour's Women of the Year Summit this week, and the new Barbie is modeled after Hibtihaj Muhammad. She's an Olympic fencer who was the first member of the U.S. Olympic team to compete while wearing hijab. The doll goes on sale next year. People has now named this year's Sexiest Man Alive, and it is Blake Shelton. He's a country singer who has also made a name for himself as a judge on the NBC show The Voice. And that's it. You are ready to go. If you want to read more about any of the stories we talked about today, you can always do that on thenewsworthy.com. Just click episodes at the top of the homepage, find today's date, and you'll see all the links. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen so you don't miss an episode. And if you like The Newsworthy, please consider rating and reviewing it on iTunes. I so appreciate your support, and thank you again for listening. The Newsworthy is available every day, Monday through Friday by 4 a.m. Eastern Time. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day.